But, and here's some Mode 7 shit. Okay, this actually looks really nice. It's atmospheric, but anyway, looking at, I get things I don't want. It's like an in-first Christmas. Like they give you the axe to handle those things, but you really don't need it. But yes, as you can tell looking at the game, it's got a much brighter palette because, you know, it's a Super Nintendo game. And as I said, I think that's offsetting because the nature of Castlevania requires it to be, you know, dark. Castlevania is a horror game and it should be dark. And I think the NES did this much better because, you know, it had a much more limited palette. So often it would resort to using you know, black backgrounds or gray backgrounds or dark blue backgrounds. And, you know, that just made things seem a lot more atmospheric. I mean, this is pleasant. It is nice. I do like it, but you can at times see very, you know, distinct and, you know, colorish colors that just don't really pop. They just kind of bleed. I mean, take a look at this brown. It's just, man, I don't know. It's too bright. Maybe I'm being, I really don't know what I'm being. And now it's time to kill those things in the Goosebumps books that I kind of sort of read but never did because I didn't have a complete childhood. Just kidding, I had a great childhood. It was like one of those little cover-up coughs. So I think something you should always talk about when you're playing a Castlevania game is the soundtrack. This game does have a lot of good... Okay, that was a moment for me. The game has a lot of good entries. I would say that every single song in the soundtrack is atmospheric to the stage it's in. I mean, this song, it makes me feel of echoing sounds in a cave. You know, just your voice going deeper and deeper and bouncing around and resonating inside the caverns. And that's really good. I'm glad it's here. But honestly, I don't think this is a memorable tune, and it really isn't one of my favorites. It's not, you know, like Bloody Tears or Dance of the Holy Man, which, by the way, was the first song you hear in the game. And yeah, Castlevania music, but you will be hearing, you know, really good tunes as the time goes on. I tried to avoid that. I don't know better now. Okay, drop, drop, drop. Don't drop till you stop. Oh! So after I beat this boss, that's going to be it for tonight. In fact, that might be enough footage for one video. Okay, what's another thing I can talk about? This is good. The enemies. I believe this game has more enemies, just regular enemies that is, than previous Castlevania games. I could be wrong. I doubt it. I mean, like those horse heads you see at the beginning of the game, you never see those again. But the same could be said for enemies from, say, Dracula's Curse. Yeah, I gotta be right. This game is gonna have more enemies. It certainly has more bosses, and I gotta tell you, the boss fights, they're really good, but I feel a lot of them are just grind fest. Like, often there'll be no strategy, you're just wailing on them. And that really makes me reconsider my internal dilemma I had about Mario boss fights versus Castlevania boss fights. I feel that maybe the NES titles had better boss fights, but I would say that, like, oh, I whiffed. I'll just go on with the conversation. No need to speed up. Like, the final... Okay, there definitely aren't bots in this game that are just wailing on them. I can think of 5 bosses right now where there is some strategy and style to doing it. And it's definitely a big contrast to say that Medusa fight you saw, which is just me standing there taking hits until she died. And yeah, it's sad. I got a better damage output than she had. That was close. That would have killed me. I don't like how the ground just disappears from you. Like, this level can definitely handle you falling down platforms. Like, this cartridge can. I just don't get it. And, you know, speaking of the cart, I feel like if they wanted to, they could have added more. I mean, just take a look at The Legend of Zelda and Chrono Trigger. That must have been pushing the damn thing. Hell, even Yoshi's Island. And that is a really good platformer. Fun fact. Yoshi's Island might be objectively the best platformer that exists. I'm not saying that because it's my personal belief, but I think that's some sort of aggregate. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure people are going to say, oh, it's Super Mario World. I don't know. I feel like Yoshi's Island had more, did more. Looked better, sound better. Hey, don't get me wrong. Super Mario World is a great game. It's definitely in my top 100. And you're going to be seeing that. Oh! Stairs? What are stairs? Stairs aren't your worst enemy in this game. It's the fucking knockback. Seriously, this is what, 3 times now I've died from knockback? Ugh. Can I? Okay, that's a good thing. Ravioli. Oh, yeah, this thing does boss damage. It's funny, the eye does more damage than regular bosses. Okay, now here is a sad thing. Everyone remember the bone dragons? Yep, they're mediocre enemies. No, this isn't the last level we've seen, but they are really easy to kill in this game. And I don't know if that's a good thing or if it's just kind of sad. Now, here is something you probably want to know. Castlevania, if we're talking about traditional Castlevania, and by that I mean, you know, not Symphony of the Night games, my favorite Castlevania is going to be the first one. It's a standard, and I just feel, okay, so Dracula's Curse probably does the classics a lot better than the first game. It does, objectively it does, but subjectively, I just feel that the first game is a better experience. And it might even be worth me going back to do that, and I'll get into details about that later. But, yeah, while Castlevania 3 is objectively better, and Castlevania 4 is even objectively better than Castlevania 3, I just prefer Castlevania 1 more. I'm chalking this up to distraction now. I'm usually not this bad at this game. I actually completely went through this game without dying once until the buzzsaw. Oh, spoilers. But yeah. And, okay, so speaking of going back and doing Castlevania again, the first Castlevania 1, 3, and 4 all have something called Second Quest. It's basically a more difficult game, and even though you're not taking more damage, there are... Woo! I'm just gonna do that. Alright, so you might take more damage, who knows, but anyway. I promise you I'm not gonna get game over until I get to the boss. I promise you. But yes, going back to Second Quest, it's a more difficult game because the enemy placement is more devious, and there are more enemies as well. And if I was going to do second quest for 3 games, I would probably do them. And actually, Castlevania Bloodlines is a second quest. It's expert mode, but I digress. And then there's Castlevania Chronicles. But yes, if I was going to do expert mode for the Castlevania games, I would probably stream them on Twitch. But just as soon as I get an Wait, I can't use an Elgato on Twitch, can I? That sucks. But if I could... Fuck. I'd have to get Retron 5, I guess. Ew, Bob is sucking the dick. Not that he likes to, or that he's into that, but because the game is making him. But yes, I'd probably Twitch second quest because I don't think it's worth it enough to record it. Unless if I do what Ralph does and go back to it later. But honestly, besides the difficulty curve, there's not much more to see the Castlevania that I haven't showed you. Okay, I think I'm equipped well enough now with the axe to take out the dragons. And yes, these are the fire dragons from the Castlevania 3. The asshole bosses that I died to twice with Sypha. They have been reduced to the 3rd boss status as opposed to thank God for platforms. Pre-Castlevania castle entrance bosses. And was that the fireball or the fire mist one? Okay, good. The easy one is alive. And that is it. Go get the orb, go to the next level, and cut this. How long have I been recording? 23 minutes. So, 2 episodes? Okay, hold on. Let's see what's coming up. I'm gonna stop it right here. Because this is a pretty long level. It's 2 levels, actually. And I believe after I beat this, though, we get to the castle. So tune in next time, and I will see you.